We all just want to lose weight, stop our joint pain, and finally have the energy to keep up with our kids. But instead, another diet failed us. We lose a few pounds after a short 6 months, and the weight comes rushing back. We blame ourselves, but we aren't the problem. We've been conditioned by $1 trillion system to believe that our bodies are broken. But biologically, our bodies are doing exactly what they are designed to do with the diet foods that we eat. Whether we are counting calories or on that ridiculous sugar diet, the outcome is going to be the same. Our body is actively using adipose tissue, so body fat, as a physical shield to quarantine the toxin, those highly processed junk foods that companies keep pushing in our faces. Yeah, toxins. They set us up, and here's exactly how they ensure that we keep taking the bait. Food and pharma industries know we just want to know the answer. Like, how do we lose weight quickly? So when the authority tells us that they have an answer, we don't stick around to hear the explanation. We think we don't need it. You're an authority. Tell me what to do. We run and try to implement what they just said, even if their explanation, so their instructions, were needed to ensure that we do it the right way. Most people don't make it past the 3-minute mark of educational videos, despite their health being on the line. Why? Because they want a quick fix rather than a complete understanding of what they're trying to accomplish. That conditioned rush for a quick answer is their absolute ultimate weapon against our good health. Without the foundational information, we are guaranteed to bounce from one failed diet to another because we have no idea why the diet worked in the first place. But when we reclaim our focus today and finally understand the raw mechanics of our metabolism, we become permanently immune to food companies and pharma companies' lies. Now, I'm not a doctor. In 2018, I completely eliminated my joint pain and lost 80 pounds by doing some research and learning how, biologically, our bodies actually work. I'm sharing what I learned so you can become a partner with your doctor in your healing process. Please subscribe. Which is why jumping out of videos as soon as you hear an exciting tip is such a problem. We're treating foundational science as a 60-second hack. And this digs us into a hole that is extremely difficult to climb out of. This is exactly why I was obese 8 years ago. I was told to eat fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. I was told to avoid the fat on my meat, all based on a calorie idea. It was simple math that I could do in my sleep, and guess what? It didn't work. I kept trying and failing and blaming myself. How could I not be able to get this simple math right? I was yo-yo dieting, right? Without the basic understanding of how my body works, and therefore not understanding why I was storing fat every single day, every diet that I tried failed. I resumed eating normally because the diet wasn't working, and then I would not only gain back what I lost, I would gain back even more. And I was devastated, and I was defeated, and that was my life, and then until I can build up the courage to try again. And what frustrates me is that food companies, they're the ones who invented the calories in, calories out stupidity, know that it will fail and that you will resume eating their foolishness. It's part of the plan. But just in case some of us are stubborn, right? Some of us are just going to keep pushing and pushing and trying to force those calories down. They make diet versions of their processed, non-nutritive junk just to be certain that they still get our money. While we self-soothe with food, trying to get ready for that next round of dieting, food and pharma wait patiently, knowing that our actions are futile. We have no idea what food to eat to actually achieve weight loss. And that's because we're listening to these companies. If we don't stop expecting influencers and doctors to do our thinking for us, if we don't take the time to watch the complete explanation from the expert explaining why eating certain foods are good while others are bad, we won't just stay overweight. We are speeding up the process of chronic inflammation, severe insulin resistance, and total metabolic collapse. The stakes aren't just a number on the scale. We are actually risking our ability to enjoy life. Not being able to walk was the real reason that I found keto. I had tried to lose weight so many times. The calories in, calories out trap kept me fat. But my research on how to solve the inflammation that was happening in my hip showed me that I didn't actually understand how my body worked. I was trying to lose weight through willpower and avoiding the junk that I craved. This was a trap because, first of all, you can't avoid it. It's around you all the time. And second of all, our body has no idea what calories are.
It all depends on hormones because our whole body runs on hormones. You know, our body has no calorie receptors, right? There's no cell receptor that says, oh, here's a calorie. This is what I'm going to do. Our body runs on hormones. Those are instructions as to what to do, how much to pump blood, how much body heat to generate. Everything in our body is run on hormones, not calories. So ignoring the hormonal side of things is not a great idea.
My body was craving junk food because of the healthy food that I'd been eating for years. There was no way that a 6-month calorie restriction or even a year of eating fruits and vegetables could possibly help me to lose weight because those things did not address the healthy fruits and vegetables and grains that was actually making me crave the chocolate and cookies and ice cream. This wasn't about a quick fix or a magic pill. My body was struggling because I was eating high carbohydrate food for the entirety of the 46 years that I was on the planet. Even when I was trying to be good, Wellness Warrior, I was getting 252 grams of carbs in a day. Unknowingly, by eating 1,260% more sugar than the 20 grams we are meant to eat, I was shutting down my body's ability to heal and manage its weight. I needed to slow down and do some research like, is it true that carbs cause inflammation? Something that I didn't know until I looked it up. But more importantly, I also had to figure out what I would eat if I was not going to have high carbohydrate fruits, vegetables, and grains, because guess what? I learned that it was true. I was shocked to learn that not only were carbs causing inflammation, they were keeping me fat.
Well, we put in our face quantity and percentage and concentration and frequency, all that sugar and starch that we're eating, and it doesn't matter. And this is important. It doesn't matter if it goes in as an apple or ice cream. It doesn't matter if it goes in as whole wheat rice or brown rice or white rice. It doesn't matter if it's a baked potato or French fries. It doesn't matter how that sugar gets into our bodies. But the sugar gets taken up our intestine and dumped directly into the portal venous system, goes to the liver. And the first place it causes damage, this is my PhD, is in the liver cells. The sinusoids, the lining cells of the liver, and you get inflammation of the liver. Some of that sugar, most of that sugar gets absorbed by the liver and gets turned to fat or stored as glycogen, but a lot of it spills over into the systemic blood supply. Organs that see the highest concentration of blood sugar in the human body are the heart, the liver, the heart, and then the brain.
I learned what insulin actually does in the body and how visceral fat is the real villain that was causing my joint pain, my inflammation, my skin issues, all the problems that I was having seemed to link back to this inflammation. I finally understood that I wasn't managing my health. I was blindly, repetitively, yo-yo dieting by calorie restricting rather than investigating what was causing my weight gain.
So high insulin levels are going to block lipolysis. It's going to block fat burning because you're trying to store it. So the higher your insulin levels are, the higher you're going to push up this body fat thermostat. As you push up the body fat thermostat, what happens is that you are going to get hungry or you're going to not be able to get full, both of which are going to create changes in your eating behavior such that you eat more. So the amount that you eat is not simply willpower, it's controlled by hormones. Your insulin is telling you that you need to go eat more so that you can store more. That's the signal you're giving it.
I spent years blaming myself for a biological and psychological trap I didn't even know I was in. A trap making companies billions while we live in pain. The only way out of the yo-yo dieting hell that we are all living is to finally understand the why behind the food, so the how to lose weight becomes effortless. I want to just point out that seeing the lie of calories actually hit me hard, because chocolate, ice cream, pizza, they're all traps that have not just been making me fat, they've been keeping me in pain for like 23 years of my life. And they absolutely needed to stop. Like, I would have been willing to keep walking around obese. It was the pain that, right? Like, it's the pain that got me to look at this more deeply. And that's why it took me a month and a half from the time that I found keto to when I actually started my keto way of life, because I needed to be sure that I wasn't going to make my hip worse. I didn't care about the weight. So remember, when I came into the story, I thought fat made you fat, and I was willing to do it. And when I started my keto way of life, I still thought fat made you fat. I was looking for relief from my pain. And I also understood that once I started doing this, from what I was understanding about what was happening to my body, I would have to eat this way forever. And I was looking at all that saying, well, I'm probably going to get fatter, but the pain's going to go away. And I was willing to do it anyways, because no matter what my weight was, I now understood that every time I ate pizza for supper, because I was celebrating how proud I was that I had lost some weight, I wasn't only halting my weight loss, I was fueling my own joint pains. And it absolutely sucks that this information is known. Companies know this, and yet we aren't aware. It wasn't like I had to go to university to learn this information or to dig through mountains of research to learn this information. A Google search gave me this information, and you can absolutely go validate everything that I'm saying right now with your own search. So, why are we eating the way that we eat? It's because big food makes money when we eat this way. Pharma companies make money when we need the meds because we eat this way, right? We have pain, we have weight that we need, the GLP-1s, right? Those medications make them money, and our health issues all take medications and procedures and medical things that they're going to create, and right? There is money to be made when people are sick and overweight. Oh my gosh. Don't, right. The gyms, all the gym equipments that we buy for our homes and all the gyms that we sign up for. Again, money to be made because we aren't well. Wellness warrior, we don't need advertising to eat healthy food. Have you ever noticed that there aren't any ads on our beef or broccoli, right? It's a simple package with a price on it, and we buy it. The fact that they have health claims on packaged foolishness to trick us into eating it should have been the clue. We can't keep letting the people who make money off our pain tell us what is healthy, tell us what to eat for good weight. Whether it's the latest diet food, fitness trend, or the person in the white coat making a health claim, we need to demand to see their claims, like how their claims will impact us as individuals. They love to group us together and then talk about our percentages and like, right? So that they can manipulate the percentages, right? That, out of 100 people, one person got sick over here, but 2 people got sick over here. So they can say, well, we had 100% difference in the 2 groups, right? When was one person different out of 100? They want to compare us to the norm, Wellness Warrior, even though, for example, myself eating keto and then carnivore over the last 7 years has not ingested the amount of carbohydrate that anyone doing a standard diet has been ingesting, and especially anyone doing a vegetarian diet would have been eating. You cannot compare me to people who aren't doing what I'm doing. It's so important for us to understand that no matter what is happening, at the end of the day, sugar causes glycation in the human body. Period. There's no getting around that. So how much sugar we eat actually matters. This isn't about food lists, although I know that if you're new and just hearing the word keto for the first time, that all you are wondering is, what the heck am I supposed to eat if I'm not eating fruits, vegetables, and grains? And I need you to understand that the goal is to end the yo-yo dieting, the endless joint pain, the loop of confusion that we've all been living for years. We need to see that our bodies are trying to rebuild, and what we eat determines how our body rebuilds. If we give it the right stuff, it builds a healthy body. If we give it more garbage, it keeps building painful bodies that can't do what you want to do. This isn't about eating for entertainment. We are eating to heal our bodies. I want you to keep in mind, when we learned that carbs were bad and keto was the answer, the first thing they did was to try to discredit keto and put all kinds of false information out and false studies showing that the keto diet would cause all kinds of health problems that it absolutely was not causing. They wanted to scare us away from eating a keto diet. Fast forward to today, now that keto is an accepted way of eating that is getting many people results, so weight loss, better health, better mental health, all the things that are changing, they've shifted to producing processed keto garbage to trick us into eating nonsense that keeps us stuck in pain and yo-yo dieting. We aren't profitable unless we are in their system and eating their garbage, Wellness Warrior. The answer is actually knowing why carbs lead to inflammation, and more importantly, why animal protein and fat lead to satiety, health, and living life at our proper weight.
If insulin is spiking way up, your body gets the message, hey, I need to store this as body fat. If you're eating broccoli and salmon, if you're eating chicken breast all day long, well, your insulin levels aren't going to go up very high. You're going to eat the calories, but your body's going to say, well, there's not that much insulin. We should just burn it.
Knowing what is healthy is the only way to be immune to the manipulation of the food and pharma industries. And this is how you get to your goal weight and stay there. Now, if you're new to keto, welcome. There's only one thing that I want you to focus on. No packaged or processed foods. That's not what we're focusing on. If the only thing you gain from this video and you do is this one thing, it is remove non-nutritive processed garbage from your diet. If you do that, you'll be ahead of the game. Your health is going to improve. And when I say all processed, I mean anything that has ingredients on it that you can't go into the main part of the grocery store and pick up and put in your cart, that is processed foolishness. Don't eat it. Eating real food ensures that your body has the best chance to deal with what you're eating because it knows what it is. It's real, right? When we eat processed garbage, the chemicals and seed oils wreak havoc in our bodies and make our bodies work over time detoxifying us. It's not something you should be doing. By eliminating the engineered garbage and eating real food for the next month, your body can begin to rebuild and repair you, right? Because it's actually getting the nutrients and the building blocks that it needs to do those repairs. If you've already committed to a whole foods like way of eating, maybe you're doing paleo or some other whole food based diet, the next step would be lowering your carbs to a healthy level for your body. So if you decide to do keto, that's 20 grams or less per day. When we feed our body meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt, our brain fog lifts, our inflammation disappears, and we finally stop the nagging cravings that were causing us to run back and look for stupidities like these things and, wanting us to eat just like fun stuff that isn't giving our body what it actually needs to be healthy. Our body does not crave the processed foods that trap us when we don't interact with them. That's the same way that any other substance that creates dependence doesn't create the dependence if you've never used it. It is really hard to give up on our entertainment. I know this, especially since most of us work all day and then we get home and we have children and spouses to take care of at night, and therefore cannot do the fun activities we used to do in our 20s and 30s. We think that the convenience and fun of ordering burgers for lunch or pizza for supper is some kind of 2-for-1. But in fact, letting go of junk food is a blessing because we finally get to engage our actual life. Once you've lived engaging your life, you realize that what you're actually giving up is joint pain. You're giving up exhaustion. You're giving up the brain fog and confusion that embarrasses you in meetings, right? And makes you need an afternoon nap. And the afternoon is so hard. Yeah, it goes away. They've hammered into our heads that we need to have fun by eating fast food, junk food, desserts. They claim that this is what it means to be living, right? To live life. But actually, what it means to live life is to get up in the morning and feel pain-free when you get out of bed, right? Like I do now. Going through your days not craving junk food that you know would make you fat, like I no longer do. Being in a good mood because your hormones are stable feels so amazing. We don't even realize that when we spike our insulin with sugary stupidities, it impacts all of our other hormones, destabilizing us and making us moody, and it makes our mental health poor. We don't even realize that these things are happening. You will be so much happier when you're able to walk through any store, restaurant, or holiday event with confidence because the junk food has lost all of its power over you. When you make this shift, Wellness Warrior, you don't just lose weight. You regain control over your health. And once you are healthy, the weight drops off effortlessly because a healthy body regulates its weight. You stop being an unknowing subscriber to a profit-driven system that steals your health, and you become a wise decision maker about your own food and how your health is going to progress. Food companies want us to think that it's hard to give up the junk food, and they want us to buy the diet bars because you need them, because you're not eating the real junk. You need Wellness Warrior. You are stronger than their stupid marketing. The freedom you feel when your metabolism finally heals is worth infinitely more than that 60-second dopamine hit. Trust me, I've been there. I've lived this. We've been trapped in a cycle of yo-yo dieting, joint pain, and brain fog, and all the other health blah blahs that we've all lived because the food and pharma industry has convinced us that health is a calorie story. And everything else about health is about this complicated science that us normal people, we just won't understand. Just trust us, eat this stuff, and you'll be fine. That isn't true. By taking the time to do a quick Google search, I learned in one night how to heal my body and get my weight under control. When we eat low glycemic one ingredient foods, we heal our metabolism and end our cravings, especially if we stick to meat, fish, poultry, eggs, and salt. We need to see it if we're going to apply it. The food industry has spent decades wiring our brains to be dependent on high carbohydrate processed foods. To ensure that they can't pull us back into their profit cycle, you need to know exactly how to conquer the biological dependency that they've wired into us. So I want you to click on this video so that you can continue on the road to health and get your life back. So click on the link. I'll meet you over there.